All right, welcome to the morning, yo. It is Michael, yo. I just gotta say, I really appreciate you guys checking out the podcast. Just real quick, we got some business to do here. Big shout outs to Southgate Design for being the sponsor of the podcast. Any graphic work you need, they do all my graphics, all my merch, everything like that. Big shout outs to Eric over there. Also, just to run through some shows really quick to get your support on San Francisco. I'm going to be there at Cobb's June 11th and 12th. Cobb's Comedy Club. That's where it's going down. I'll be in Utah, Wise Guys, July 9th and 10th. And then I'm going to be at Denver Comedy Works, July 22nd through 24th. So all the clubs are opening up, man. It's a beautiful situation that's going on right now. It's a beautiful situation. And I got to say, I really appreciate you guys watching every single day because this show has started. I'm not going to lie to you. I started this on Facebook beginning of the year, January 1, had 20,000 followers. Now we're up to close to 200,000 followers in just 4 months on Facebook. So really, really appreciate it. But I don't know if he's still there, but I want to bring him in right now. You there, Ali? I mean, this dude right here. I love him, first of all, because he's from Houston, Texas, like me. Ali Saddiq, how are you, man?
Man, I am fancy. I had to run and get some more light. I just felt like I needed some more light.
You know, my question to you is how do you not have lights at your house? Come on, man. You're a big star.
I do have lights, but my son is in my office space right now where my whole setup is. I usually don't have to makeshift something up. I got a little space, but he's in my space doing Arabic right now. I'm like,
nah. You can't mess with it, man. First of all, you're from Houston, Texas, like me. We're close to the same age, which is crazy because I read and I hear your stand up and I know your experience, which is totally different than my experience growing up in Houston, Texas.
What? Where you grew up?
I grew up at Sagemont, like by Alameda Mall.
Okay, I know what Alameda Mall is. Right down 45.
Yeah, 45. I grew up. It's a area called South Belt. I went to Dobie High School.
Yeah, Dobie. Okay.
What school do you go to?
A-Leave Hastings.
Oh, you know what? You must have knew my not probably didn't know him, but you ever heard of a guy named Khalif Muhammad? He played football for Elsick.
Yeah, I know him and his brothers. Oh my, I know his whole family.
I grew up with Khalif, man. That's like family to me, man.
Yeah, Khalif, Salim, Omar, his sisters. Yeah, man, they from the Leaf, man.
Yeah. So I mean, we know a bunch of the same people, but I love that you're blowing up and stand up. You've been doing your thing since '97, I believe. I started just 10 years ago, but it's interesting that we both got the same style as in storytelling, and I think that's great. Where I'm not a punchline. I'm not like how they have those guys that just boom, boom. But I love the storytelling, and when people lean into the story and they're into it, that's what I love. Where'd you come up with your style from?
It's kind of like always been in my family. Like we tell stories about something that happened. So I didn't even really recognize that until I started doing it, but sitting down doing it was a different experience from standing up doing it, because Paul Mooney was a big influence on storytelling, rest his soul, even though me and him had our words.
Mhm.
Bill Cosby was definitely the catalyst of being able to sit down and tell stories. But that's always been, you grow up reading comic books and that's a storyline and to get to, and it's funny parts in the middle of it, but you constantly grabbing onto the next thing and watching, the sitcoms that I grew up watching, it was, you had to wait until next week to figure out what was going on. So you like, so keeping people in suspense as, you grow up, it becomes a part of who you are. Basically.
Do you see that, we're both on big shows and I'm sure you've been to LA where it's just the lineup is just stacked with people. Do you feel it's harder to be a storyteller like the way you do it when you're on those type of lineups, or do you change your set to more of a fast hitting set?
Nah, that's the beauty of it when you become a storyteller. Like a lot of people think they are because they do it once or twice, but
Mhm.
that's not what people expect from them. When
Yeah.
people expect that from you, that's the beauty of you going up, you see the lineup and everybody's not you. So once you get up and you pull your chair up and people waiting on it, they waiting on me to say, hey. And after that, they know I'm going where I'm going. So and it makes it easier for me, basically. I really enjoy that.
You know what I love is because I haven't pulled up the chair like you, but I do sit on a stool a lot. And just as soon as you, and I would imagine it even takes it to the next level, but just sitting on a stool, what I love is you change the whole energy in a room
Yeah,
where,
I started with the stool.
uh huh.
I actually it started with me standing in one spot and not moving, and then going to the stool. It's this guy named Dez White. Man, he
Oh, I
was.
love Dez. I love Dez.
If people ever really watch Dez, Dez don't move. Dez get to the mic. He don't take the microphone out the stand. None of that. He just stand there, and he's hysterical. And it's levels of being funny to me. So you have your slapstick people, you have your one-liners, you have your energy people that's running all over the place. Then you have these people who got a lot of poise. They standing in one spot. Then the person who's sitting on the stool. Then the person who's sitting in the chair. There's nothing after that unless you're gonna lay down like lay down like Marvin Gaye. You come out. Yeah, you fit. This is what I'm saying to you.
Do you notice because like I said, I've been only doing it 10 years, but I've noticed the growth in myself where when you first start, you want to be like, I wanted to be animated. Like Joe Coy is my mentor in comedy. He brought me in and he's that dude, you know, he got a lot of energy, but I've seen him. It's funny when you first start, you seem to be all over the place, but as your material grows and you grow in the industry, that space becomes smaller and smaller. And then it's just about the words you're saying and not about the actions as much.
That's definitely a a look. I don't know that some people could ever not be their animated self. That's gonna be a part of their art form. Like Arnez J is still going. Like the energy that Arnez J has is incredible. Tommy Davis is still going.
Oh,
So that's a part of who they Mike Bonner, still banging it out. But I kind of always look to the future. I remember when everybody was selling DVDs. Everybody had a DVD. Like after the show, you buy my DVD, buy my DVD. I at that time I only had albums. So I was still taking it old school and just doing records. So because in my mind it was like people can always listen to the words when they driving home. They can't actually watch your DVD,
yeah.
you know. So then people start doing records and everybody didn't know how to everybody's comedy didn't transfer over to just the words. And maybe people will start to look at that you have to have some substance in your words versus somebody having to have to see you, and I don't think a lot of people look at the levels in that, but I've always that's the part of being in the craft, that's looking at the different levels of people. Franklin Ajay is totally different from Eddie Murphy, but on the same level of brilliance.
Now, now when you started comedy, did you always have the style you have now or you grew into it?
Grew into it.
Okay, did you start by moving a lot as well or
I was in the I was definitely into being physical. I was definitely into being a physically motivated comic. The things that I would do, physical with a strong splash of shock value to it. I used to do so I used to break dance, right? So
Uh-huh.
it's a suicide move that you go and you flip forward.
Yep.
So I took that and moved it to this joke about getting into a fight. And I said, yo, I don't care what part of the fight you're in. If you get body slammed, you lost. I don't care. If somebody physically take you off your feet and slam your body, I said, this is how it looked. And I would do the suicide and just land on the ground. And then I would do all this talking on the ground, how my body is broke up and who cut the lights out. Somebody definitely cut the lights out. If somebody did you like that and your shoe came off, you out of there. You lost. I don't care what happens after that. So that same joke now is it's the same joke, but it's moved down to another story in my life. Like, yo, man, I'm a grown man and I know things happen. So I'm in this club and this dude bumped into me and made me spill Hennessy on my shirt. And I was like, yo, it's an accident because I'm grown. But the Hennessy was like, nah, my man's disrespectful. And you should go tell him. And I say, my man, you being disrespectful. He said, going on, little dog. And in my normal mind, I would have went on. But that Hennessy said, you should swing on him. I said, and I swung on that man, and that man whooped my ass. I knew I got my ass whooped because my shoe came off. Well, you know how embarrassing it is to be walking around the club looking for your shoe. I wasn't even over here. So your material change, because I definitely used to do that body slam move. And
yeah, you can't do that anymore. You might not get up. No.
At 47, end of the show. If I do it, that's the last show
ever.
I don't even think my body not even gonna forgive me. My body gonna turn on me. Okay, you like mistreating people, huh? Okay.
Oh, you ain't taking care of me anymore, huh? Okay, yeah. We're gonna play that game.
Something for you, sir. Back go out. Boy.
Abhishek, he's from India. He's going through it right now with all that COVID stuff, that stuff we went through earlier. But he says he loves your shroom story.
Yeah, I did that on Comedy Central. This is not happening. When Ari gave me a bag of mushrooms. And first time. It was a long night.
It was a long night, right? Now, I heard you. I watch your Instagram and I heard you talk about Paul Mooney. Now, I'm not familiar with the beef with you and Paul Mooney. What is that? If you want to talk about, what is that? What happened?
It was very close to the vest with us. I really don't speak ill of the dead because he not here to defend.
I got you.
He's not here to defend himself. It was the fact that Paul had his little times where he would flip out on people, and if you didn't know that he was flipping out, because what he asked me to do, we was doing a weekend together, and I was hired by the club. This is my first time meeting him, and I was very excited to meet Paul Mooney. This is like one of the greatest comics to me.
Of course.
And I still feel that way, even though he asked me to count the room. Like, we did a Thursday show. We did 2 shows on Friday. And so Saturday, when we get there, I'm sitting in the green room. Now, I'm not even actually in the green room. I'm in this side room that's next to the green room. And he asked me to count the room. He said, hey, now actually not asked, but kind of like
told you,
hey, go count the room. I was like, what?
Now, for people, hold on one second. For people that don't know what count the room means, a lot of comedy clubs, if you hit a certain number, you get bonuses and things like that. And you want to be like it has to be on the same number, because clubs, if you're one person short, they can cheat you out of some money. So that's why a lot of comics count the room. But go ahead.
Yeah. So he told me to go count the room. I said, well, that's not my job. Man, you heard what I said, go count the room. I was like, hey, my man, I don't count the room, and don't ask me no more. Man, he came back again and told me that, yeah, just tell your little white friend that the room is sold out. Yeah. I'm like, I don't have a little white friend. I don't know what you're talking about. I told you to count the room. I said, man, if you say one more thing to me, man, I'm going to punch you in the face. And man, it was just a long 3 days after that, man. It was like 3 shows after that. He was tripping, and we remember we keep running into each other, and we had that same energy, like, yo.
Every time, huh?
Yep, up into Austin. We finally broke in Austin. We doing this the States Theater for this Black Arts company in Austin, and you can hear the lady in the hallway trying to get us to meet each other. He was like, Ali, Paul is in the next room. Would you like to speak? I was like, no. And she was like, Paul, Ali is right over in the next room. Would you like to? You heard Paul? No, I don't want to speak to him. Yeah, because it's gonna start an argument out the rip. As soon as we see each other, it's gonna be just words, and he know it. So, so I performed already, and they had a little intermission. I'm sitting in the green room, and Paul's getting ready to go on, and I can't get up fast enough to slam my door. to slam the door. I'm gonna slam my door so he'll know right when you come by. I can't even get up fast enough, and he walks by and he walks past and then leans back and says, "Hi, Ali." Then, I was like, "Hey, Paul." And after that, we had been at least on speaking terms. It was a cordial speaking after that. Hi, Ali.
But now, have you brought this story to the stage, or will you ever?
I said it on Rogan's show when he was talking about comics that I had experiences with, but I've cussed out, like with me and Paul. It didn't get to the. I told him I'm gonna punch him in the face though, but I didn't curse him out. I cussed out Chuck Willery. I cussed out Chuck Willery in the airport in Newark.
Okay, what happened there? Oh my goodness, you just like getting in fights, don't you?
No, not really. It's like, man, people be doing stuff like
people be doing stuff, man.
And it's like, okay, I cussed out Patrick Ewing in a luggage store. I cussed out Scottie Pippen outside this club in Houston called Tonic.
Okay, why'd you cuss out Scottie Pippen? What did he do?
Man, Scottie was being fraud, man. I'm talking to the chick that I went to school with that I know, and I don't know what they dealings were, if there was even any dealings, but he had an attitude because like I was holding her up or something, and I was like, yo, well, man, you can keep walking. I've been knowing her, fam. Like, man, what's going on, dog, for something happening. Like, well, call him a cornball, man. You out here looking like a cornball, man. Like, good grief. getting out this small ass Mustang. You know? Look at your legs everywhere, son. You in the front and the back. You everywhere. So my whole squad out there, everybody laughing, and I'm just looking at Scotty Pippen like, "Yo, you a dork right now, man. Going on, man. For something happened to you, fam. Like, don't even do it to yourself. You want to keep hooping." He played for the Rockets at the time. I'm like, "Yo, fam, well, I don't want to mess off the season, man. Going on for you." Your season be bad, fam. Hey man, people be underestimating Houston people, man. We be like, hey man, we cool, but hey man, don't make us be different, man.
Don't make us be different.
We good people, man. You trying to make us be different?
Yeah, we good people till we're not.
We good people till we, man. You know you from Houston, man.
We know.
Not, man.
Because you know what it is I believe pretty much we all have the sensibility of Houston where, look, we nice until we're not, you know.
And people don't understand, Mr. Yo, they don't understand all our people like that too. It don't matter what nationality you are. If you that nationality and you from Houston, you're a little different. You're a little
different. Don't matter. It don't matter.
You know? Hey man, look, you notice ain't no tapes, no Asian hate crime out here.
No.
There ain't no Asian hate crime going on in Houston.
And Houston has the biggest Koreatown besides LA, and no hate crime. Because they know you pull up on an Asian in Houston, they fighting too.
And they got sneaky towns. They got whole little sections that you don't even know that they section. Just figured out it's another new little section off I-10. And Buck, you dip down this way, it's a whole nother Korean town. I'm in A-Leaf, so I know what a Korean town is. They got another one. I said, so we got 4. We really have 4 Chinatowns.
Yeah.
People, y'all don't understand. I don't know how you can get away because all of them know each other. All of them. It ain't not one that don't know. Well, you like, your people, hold on. Let me
tell you something. It's the only place, when I was growing up in Houston, when I went to they had Asian gangs when I was growing up. Like, I never heard of Asian gangs anywhere. And they were like, yo, you don't mess with these dudes, man.
In A-Leaf.
All
of them drove them little smaller cars with them big mufflers on, making all that dang on noise.
Like it's Tokyo Drift.
Before that even came out, that was
I know.
That's man. I don't even know if they got into it, how they thought they was gonna get away. We can hear your car. Which way did he go? Over there. We hear the car.
Man, I tell you, it ain't no joke, man. Everybody, they never can escape, man. They never can escape.
He's right over
there. And they still in first gear.
It's the craziest thing. It's like 13 of them with the same car. Like, yo, fam, you are not getting away. We can hear your car. You can't. Even when it cut off, it's still humming.
You could catch him even after they turn off the car. For like 10 minutes later, the car's still.
And you got on a trench coat. Why did you choose a trench coat in Houston? You know it's always hot. It's always hot. Boy.
You know, I'm in Vegas right now, and it gets to 120. But I tell people, ain't nothing compared to humidity. There's no humidity out here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I remember living in Houston, walking to the mailbox, just walking to the mail, sweating, just dripping.
Man, especially if you lived in some apartments and your mailbox was like through the apartment. That's a whole nother. You want me to go to the mailbox? Like for what, man? Like, let me take out the trash. That's a straight shot. Bye.
Right?
It is. But this navigate this apartments, oh my God, no.
Now you got your, would you say you got your comedy style, you found out you were funny when you were in prison?
Nah, man.
You were funny before that.
The thing about prison was this. It made me my observation skills were better than probably most because I would talk about things on the fly in prison because it was happening. You know, they wasn't gonna remember, and I probably wasn't even gonna see these people again. So it just happened at that time. And this is when you just find out that you are sarcastically jovial. You know, it's not like you setting out to be funny. You just happen to be this funny person that, you know, I remember the first time people thought I said something funny, and I was just being honest. It was these dudes getting ready to fight, and I said, "Hey, I know one of y'all gonna lose this fight twice." I just throw that out there because whoever win, they won. But whoever lost. And then when the cops come in, they gonna beat both of y'all. You gonna lose twice. So, and everybody was like, they found that hysterical. And then my first thing, what I knew that I was gonna be that dude. I got up and everybody was in the day room, and I got up and I closed my door and I said, "Hey, I don't know why y'all down there frowning. Ain't nobody going home today. So y'all might as well just deal with what we got going on." And it's like, you're a jerk, man. But I would say it every day, like, man, don't nobody go home on Saturday. We're like, what's y'all problem? Like, 'cause I just wanted to know. And I was young, and that was my way of just trying to deal with what was going on with trying to help other people. Like, yo, man, y'all be wilding out for no reason because you don't want to deal with what we got going on. We are locked up. Like, hey, whoever stole my man radio, we know you're still here.
Just give it up.
The radio will turn up, fam. I'm just letting you know. Like,
Was there ever a point, because I would assume people start, because I heard your bit about prisoners crying when you got out, but when did you ever, like, because you're funny, was there a certain time where, okay, I'm safe in here? Did you ever feel that?
nah,
No.
being funny, it doesn't equate. And this is the thing, and I always have to make this point to people. That was something that came off of a movie. That was said in a movie line, which was House Party. When the man said, Richard Pryor used to say, tell jokes and keep the prisoners off his ass. But just think, we know a lot about Richard Pryor. There was no point that Richard Pryor was in prison.
Yeah.
There was not one point in his life that he spent any time in prison. So since y'all know that story can't be true because Richard Pryor spent no time in prison. So to give people this understanding, that wouldn't even work. It wouldn't even work. Just imagine the person that doesn't think that you're funny. And that's what his goal was, bring home to you. Now he has even a more motive to hurt you. Like, I don't even think he's funny, man. I just want him to shut up. You know, I gotta kill him. So it's a thing that is better than people's head. But and the reason why I was safe, because I was safe on the street. You know, I was like a problem on the street. So in prison, the times that I did get into it, it was you know what it was. I didn't lose. I never lost anything. So I was a different person. I think that's what emboldened me always to say what I wanted to say, because people knew I'm gonna say what I want to say. Then what's next?
Yeah.
Was what's your next move? I want to know what it is.
Uh-huh.
Are you mad at what I said? Oh, okay. Well, now that you mad, what's your next move? Because I know what my reaction and my response is gonna be to whatever you do. Because I need you to know that is. But people in here gonna tell you, hey, I know you mad. I know you mad. But you might not want to go over there because you're gonna be even madder. Because if you think that this little Negro can't fight, or you think it ain't gonna, well, go on over there. Go on over there and see what. Go over there. And I was, and then plus I was a good person to a lot of people. Another thing that I could probably say what I wanted to say because I had helped so many people. You got a whole nother problem. Like it's like, yo, you said something to him about what? Like like now you got like five other people like, yo, what you just say? And then and you like, I wouldn't talk to you, but I'm talking to you. And then somebody else like, yo, and I'm talking to you too. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying to my people. Like, and I'll be like this, he ain't saying nothing. He ain't saying nothing. And somebody else be like, nah, he said something. And now you got like four people talking to you. You like, my man, what's your problem? And then that same person who had a problem, they may have a problem with administration in 2 or 3 days, and I'm the person that help them. And
Gotcha.
I come let them know, hey, while you around here being all indifferent, about to get yourself hurt, this is why people they respect me in here.
Gotcha.
This your case. This is what you needed right here. Don't even worry about going to, because I was a fire and safety clerk, and I was into everything. Like because if a case get filed, it got to come through the office. So if I know you, I'm like, oh Michael, let's ball that case up. Boom. And then when I see you, I'll be like, hey, I see you got an out of place case. Yeah, these cops coming down on you. Like, I got you, fam. And then I threw that away. Don't even worry about it. Don't even think about it. It's gone. And then you won't even hear nothing about it. and the cop who wrote you up is wondering why you not gone. So what happened to his case? They were like, we ain't never got no case on him. And then you coming there talking crazy to me. The officer who I worked for was Scarborough. Scarborough was like, wait. And I'm like, hold on, hey man, hold your tone, playboy. Hold your tone in this office. Now, what is it that you need? Scarborough, like, you hear him talking to you? You hear him talking to you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Scarborough outranked them, and I worked for him. He don't let all that fat mouthing, like he used to say. That white boy was country as hell. All that fat mouthing. You don't come in here with all that fat mouth. I'd be like, yeah, you don't come in here with all that fat mouth. Yeah. But, man, and officers would be hot. They be like, I put his case in here. Man, I ain't seen nothing about no Michael Yo, man. Everybody else's case that made it. You right here doing insufficient paperwork and then acting like it's our fault. Scarborough, you hear this man? Acting like we incompetent around here. And Scarborough like, no, that's not what you're acting like, is it? That we officer got to back out. Like, yeah, man, get out of here, man. Get out of here. Scram.
Scram. Let me ask, comics, they love to bust each other's chops, but I don't see them doing that to you. Like, I don't see that you're that dude. Like, because I'm not that dude either. Maybe it's a Houston thing. Like, I rather look. I'll be in a room with a bunch of comics and they'll be like kind of going at each other, saying some ill things, but it's funny. But I don't know. I'm not that dude to put into that.
This is the thing. I don't have that aura that's And plus, I grew up with grown men, and so the way we talk to each other, and even in prison, the way you talk to somebody, even if you jonesing on them, you still have a level of respect. You don't
Yeah.
call people outside their name and this, that, and the third. So I tend to shy away from those type of conversations because I already know my reaction is going to be the same that
Mhm.
as if I was in prison. Like, because I don't play those type of games. And you got one warning, and then I'm gonna pull you to the side and be like, yo, well, man, let me explain something to you. That's not how you address me. That's not how I'm gonna ever address you. If I address you like that, you're an enemy, and I'm trying to provoke something to happen. So I jones with my friends. Like if we in a green room and we all know each other,
Yeah.
and you come in, and you this is the introduction, and how me and Jones on each other is different than you would say if it's me, you, like the Houston squad.
Yeah.
You
There's
gotta
White in there.
you gotta come out and do one of the Jive Turkey shows, which is all Houston comics that happen to be home for the holiday, and we've been doing it for this is the 15th year. So
Wow.
we've been doing it for 15 years, and so if say it's like Thomas and Marcus and Dave, Terry, Billy, Kier, me, we all in a room, and then you come in. The first thing we probably gonna say is, "Oh, Billy, I know Billy jealous now. He ain't the lightest person. It, we gonna go to it off the top, and it's gonna be about your clothes. It's gonna be about it's definitely gonna be about your clothes, your set, your hair. We talk about normal things that
Yeah.
that people men talk about towards each other. We don't call each other out each other's names and nothing like that. But then it's this poet named Seven. We all have a good time together. But that all that how other people be talking to each other, I'm I'm weirded out by it. I be like, nah, I'm cool.
Yeah, I don't I don't really play those games. I mean, now a lot of my friends are in that type of thing. They like to, but when I'm in the room, they do it to each other. I'm just kind of like on the side. Like I'm the dude that does the show and I leave. I go back to my hotel. I do my own thing. I'm not trying to hang out.
And and just look, this is almost it's almost like a prison thing. So you say in prison, two people talking like that about each other. The rule is if you grin, you in. If
Oh,
you laughing at it and you chuckling with them, you in. So now they got the right to say something about you. This is the same thing that you did. You say you got friends that talk like that around each other, but you just in there like, yeah, I'm
yeah.
just doing the show, getting ready. It's the same. We would be doing the same exact thing. If I'm locked up, I'll be like, man, what is next? Because
Yeah. This ain't it.
I'm not in this.
How was Cobbs? You just did Cobbs.
Cobbs was a fantastic time, man. We had some great audiences. They first class with it, man. They treat you
Oh,
very
I
nice.
love Cobbs.
You know, and it's not just a Cobbs thing. This has been a thing with me for a while. I don't I don't have the host in the middle. I don't have them in the green room with me, especially if I don't know them.
Know them. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of hosts and middles be having a problem with that. And I don't understand why, because that's the class of comedy that I come from. I come from that generation where the green room is a space that was earned, and that's the main acts. That's his space to relax or do whatever he doing in between shows, before shows, and that's his space. So it doesn't give anybody else the right to be in that space. Because if he has food that's put out for him, you just in there talking and walking over the man's food, or you looking in the man's food, or what if his wife was in there? Would you just in there with his wife
Yeah.
and they friends? If you trying to be a part of these people's life, what if like with Dick Gregory and Damon Wayne, they sleep between the shows. So what you gonna be coming in and out of the green room while they in there sleep? If you know what you gonna put your bag in there, they got their people coming in. You know, it's a different angle and a level of respect that I don't think people even engage in anymore because they feel like they entitled to that space, but that space is reserved for the person who's on the marquee.
So what have you heard things from a host in feature, or you're just thinking they're mad?
Oh no, they energy, man. And you like and then my mind I was like, you can have all the energy you want, but one thing for sure, I'm being respectful as possible because I'm not the one that told you. I'm not the
Mm.
one that told you. They told you that hey, the green room is private. Because I don't get what if somebody was in there and they was snorting cocaine the whole time? You want to be in there involved? You like they in there shooting heroin. I don't know what they in there doing. But why would you want to be in there when this is this man's space to relax? You know, people don't get it. So I take my clothes off in between the show. And I put on this other little thing called a longi and a thobe. You know, I pray in between shows during Ramadan, but you get sweaty when you
Oh
on
yeah.
you get sweaty. So you take your clothes off, let your clothes dry out before the next show. You got like an hour, 20 minutes before the next show, and you relaxing. If I don't know you and you don't know this to be happening, you thinking it's something weird. Now you got some story. So I'm in the green room and Ali takes his clothes off. And he was like, yo, so what's happening? And I just left because I didn't know what to do. So I
Yeah.
try to stay with the people who came with me. Like, that whoever's with me, they know like, hey man, he put this little thing on, he be praying. So we either we leave or when he done, we be in here talking. They ain't got nothing to do with us. It was
What what moment in your career, like, when we do stand up, we all get little pops from different things. What's been your biggest pop, you feel? That really, because sometimes what people think is the biggest pop, like as an outsider, really isn't, because you really feel and see what that biggest pop was.
um the biggest pop, man. Uh
Was it the Mexican in Boots because it got over 10 million hits?
it but see that's the thing. How I view it and not trying to be different. This is just how I view it. In stand up, you have a lot of stepping
Hmm.
points. Like this catapults you to this point, this catapults you to that point. So is the first thing the biggest pop or something that happens in between
Yeah.
on your way up to where you're going? Like I'm not done with what I'm going to be. So I know I have two albums that, you know, I'm sitting on getting ready to sign them over to another company. And I know I have two new specials I'm getting ready to record. So I'm not done. I don't know what those projects are going to do, but Mexican Got on Boots was definitely a a jolt in the arm. But also in 2013, when Comedy Central named me, comic to watch, that was a jolt. Or, NBC Bring the Funny,
Yeah.
that was a different type
A jolt.
So the my audience changed from just that Def Jam, BT Comedy Central audience to 65, 55-year-old people coming to the show because they saw me on NBC.
Mm-hmm.
And they listening to and seeing a difference, and they only see me sit down. That's the whole thing. If in the last 10 years, people who've been watching me, they've only known me. If you became a fan in the last 10 years, they've only known me to sit down. So prior to that, people knew me from, oh, he was on the stool. Then he was standing in one spot. Then the people were like, now when I first saw him, he was a maniac. He did this move. It was crazy. And then so, it's a lot of different stages in a career that push you up to the next level of who you actually going to end up being. It's not over for me at all, I don't think.
What's the first guy you saw sit down like you? Was it Bill Cosby?
Cosby was the only person
Yeah.
I ever saw. So I waited 40 years. It was it had a strategy. I said by a certain time, I wanted to be funny enough to be sitting down. And I remember D.L. Hughley's road manager at the time, Gary Monroe, when I told him, I said, man, I'm about to start sitting. And he was like, well, why don't you sit and don't walk out to no music? Don't walk out to no music. I said, I'm going to do better than that. I don't want no music and no introduction. They don't even have to introduce. They don't have to say my name, nothing. He's like, all right. And I walked out and I slid the chair up and I picked the mic up and moved the thing to the side. And I said, hey. And people were still being seated. They didn't know what
happened.
It was just, I was featuring for DL, and he used to do a 2-man show. So I'm out the gate. so it's like I'm doing 45 up front, and this is how it start. This is how it's starting off. And I know people are accustomed to, hey, how y'all doing? And I'm not doing none of that. I'm staying in the pocket, and it was a great feeling to accomplish it. And I was like, oh, it can still be better. And that's how I think now. Right now, I can still be better than people like, man, when is the first moment you thought you was funny? I'm like, I'm still waiting.
Mm-hmm. No, I got you.
It's I don't think that I'm done, and I'm not at my funniest yet. I think the last 2 projects that I did were classically funny for the time, but I'm always trying to make something that's a classic that people will listen to. I'll never forget looking at Richard Pryor's album Live from Sunset Strip.
Yep.
And looking at it recently, and somebody from this era within the 30s busts out laughing at something that I know he said decades ago before, and they related at this point. And you want to make things like that, man. You don't want to just make something that's full of gimmicks and this is a period piece. You want to make something that's timeless. At least I do as a stand-up.
You know what? I'm right there with you. Like my first special, like when I watch it now, like I'm a totally different comic. It was only 2.5 years ago, where I was a lot louder, I was a lot more energetic, I was all over the stage. And now, after going up at the Comedy Cellar pretty much every night up here in Vegas, the stage is small. The stage is real small. So literally, I hold the pocket and I'm just there. And it's made me so relaxed where I'm just on a stool and it feels so good not moving, because the words are so engaging. And I remember Dave Chappelle said, a lot of comics when they're young, they chase the laugh. If you're not getting a laugh, you get nervous. And I remember younger me was like that. But now it's he says when they're just as funny, just as good as a laugh is them being interested when they lean in. And that's the moment I love when it's silent and they're listening to every word you're saying. And then you hit them with that line or that funny moment. It's the best. It's the best. And that's what I love about storytelling.
So just imagine this. Just imagine you've been doing stand up for 10 years.
Yep.
I've been like, that's been my style for 10 years. So when people when people say things about who are they influence, when I look back 10 years ago when I started it, there was nobody that was even in that lane. Then people started to try to merge in that lane, and then I would set it to a different level. The skill set of being a storyteller, the bar is really set higher than people think. It's like everybody think that they are that. But if you think that you are that, then you won't become that.
Yes.
Because every storyteller is writing to engage in a deeper story. You never like, oh, I got this one. One is nothing. Like, okay, one. Oh, yeah.
One is you told a story, not a storyteller.
Yeah, you told a story. You're not a storyteller.
Yeah.
But when you are locked in to being able to boom, like I can do, if people can understand, if I do an hour, this is an hour of me on stage. If I do Mexican Got On Boots, I do Mitchell, and I do the mushroom story. If I do 3 stories, that's an hour.
Yep.
That's a full hour in 3 stories. That's the level of storytelling. And if I decide to do one story from 1983 to 1983 is 45 minutes by itself, because it is like maybe 8 stories entangled into why 1983 was the turning point in my whole life. 1983. And you take people on a journey.
Yes.
And I think that audiences should become more patient with people who are transitioning to something that you're not accustomed to. Like, a lot of times the audience member will come to a show wanting you to be their favorite comic, and you're not like them. That is like, whoever that person may be, you're not them. No matter who it is, you're not them. So you can't come to a comedy show hoping to see somebody that you already like when these are the people that's performing. So you got to get into what these people are doing, and not like, well, why he not doing such, because he's not that person. It's like as soon as I come out and sit down, and there's people who've never seen me before, why is he sitting down? What, you sitting down? You that arrogant? Do you want to be the only one sitting down? Like, wow, you so selfish. Like, that's how I started down. Like, well, you are a selfish person. Why is he sitting down? Because it's a chair out here.
Do you notice that you can tell, like, when you do a show, it's new people checking you out because here's the thing, you can feel energy as soon as you walk out on stage. Do you notice as soon as you sit down, like for a group of people that like we're going to check him out for the first time, you can feel that in the room?
Off the top.
Yeah.
I said, um, my classic. I have a classic something that I say for everything because I've been doing stand up for 23 years. So I try
Yeah.
to say things in an invisible line. So this is how I get to that. Like, hey, how y'all doing? If you've ever seen me before, you know, make a little noise. And then people clap. I say, so for the people who've never seen me, ask the people who've seen me. This is it. I'm not. I'm not gonna do too much more than this. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna talk, and it's probably gonna be hysterical. So I know off the top because I don't even have to ask, well, who haven't seen me. I just go to the people who have. And if it's nobody, like it's people who all knew, and they'll say something like, "We seen you on the internet." I was like, "Oh, beware! This is not the internet.
Internet. Yeah.
This is like when you try to fix something because you've been watching YouTube. Everything look easy on YouTube." And then you don't even watch the whole thing. You get to step number 4, you be like, I got it.
I got it. Yeah.
Not knowing that step number 7, you need a blowtorch that you do not own.
We've all done that. We've all done that.
I'm a little different than YouTube. So yeah, you can always feel that energy from people who don't know you and they checking you out, and they gonna get to know you. Like
Yeah.
especially if they checking you out, they gotta give you the chance to be who you are. They can't come in with some preconceived notion. I like John Belushi. Why isn't he not doing John Belushi? And well, I'm a Carabin fan. Like,
yeah. One thing I learned in just my short time, and I'm lucky, like we've been around great comedians. You know, like I've had great mentors, and I've been around great comedy. And I learned the reason how I got my style as soon as I started. I automatically came out the gate with jokes about my parents because that's all I knew. I told real stories. So I remember hanging at a club, and I was in the middle. This is only 2 years in, and I did all right. The last dude crushed. And I was leaving the club with Joe Coy, and he goes, "You had a great set." I go, "No, the last dude had a great set." He goes, "What's that guy's name?" I go, "I don't know." He says, "Everybody's leaving this place going, that last dude crushed. What's his name? Nobody knows. But I know about you. I know about your parents. I know what ethnicity you are. I know the struggles you went through." And he goes, "Remember, people outgrow jokes, but they don't outgrow you." And that's the best piece of advice I ever got. Because people do outgrow jokes, but if it's about you, you become like a real life sitcom to them. They got to come back every year to see where you are in your life. And that's how I approach my comedy.
Yeah, it's the same thing that DL gave me, different words.
Yeah.
Like it is a definite thing when he told me, "Hey man, the funniest you're ever going to be is based upon how honest you want to be." And that meant you have to be yourself, whoever your true self is, because that's who people rock with. Your true, who you are. Just like what he told you.
Now, you've been doing it 23 years. Do you feel like you're fully honest yet, or are you still working on moving that way even more?
No, I'm fully honest, but it's the things that I've been honest about. You can still, it's always more layers to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about your kids, but people always talk about their kids when they little, and then they like it kind of like Jesus. It's like birth, then you don't know nothing about him until you're like 33. My daughter just had a grandbaby.
Right. You're like, what just happened to her for the last 30 years?
And so, it's no, like my kids have always grown up with me talking about them in the stages that they are in and the stages that I'm in. You know, when you very honest, like, yo, when I get out of prison, I'm I don't even realize that I'm having an 18-year-old relationship because I didn't understand that when I went to prison at 19, that was my last relationship with women. My last contact with women was at really 19. And I went 4 days after I turned 19. So basically 18 years old was my last dealings. So I get out at 25 and I'm having the worst relationships. And then something clicks in my head at 33. I'm like, the reason why you having bad relationships is because you still dealing with them like your 18-year-old self.
Mm.
All your development, like you didn't have no development with a woman from basically when you went to prison to you 25. So you don't know how to argue properly. You don't know when to stop. You don't know what even means something. Like you dealing with this, like it's some penitentiary shit. Like she trying to gain some ground on you or something. Right? And you terrible, man. And you start to see the effects of incarceration. You may didn't get all the hip slick, oh, I'm a convict type mannerism, but you do have this sheltered off, closed off mannerism. For the first 10 years of me being on the street, that I was very closed off because I'm on parole and you get into it with somebody, they can call your parole officer and you go back to jail. So you kind of like living in the shadows. Like you don't want people to really be close to you. So I was very standoffish my first 10 years in stand, you know. So I basically got out in October and then I started my first time on stage was in December of 1997. Then it turned 98. So I really did, I really just say I started in 98. So, and from that point, 1999, I quit both my jobs, and this is all that I've done. But it's been a roller coaster. It wasn't all good, So
Yeah, no, I got you.
You haven't told a story yet about sleeping in your boy's office, while you working there trying to make ends meet, and you only making enough money to give to your kid's mom to make sure that your kid, is straight. So it's so many different layers and so many different stories that you still haven't told about yourself. So your honesty just opens up in what you're going to be honest about. You've been honest about this part of your life, but you got a lot of other layers. So the one of the new specials is leading up. Like people already know I've been to prison, but how did I get there? 1983.
There it is. Is that what it's going to be called? 1983.
1983.
Nice.
1983 is the year that it started my lineage to go to prison. And it's a lot of things in there that people may not understand, but it's going back to the advice that you get. Billy D. Washington, he told me, man, maybe in like my 6th year, he's like, hey man, when you are on stage, either you're gonna be funny or you're gonna be interesting. It's only two things to be. Funny or interesting. Say, man, and be able to balance between the two. Yep. And you're gonna be good, man. And that's the advice that Billy D. Washington gave me, and it was one of the best things I've ever received in comedy.
Yeah, man. Well, I just wanted to touch base with you because your name pops up all the time when I say I'm from Houston, and I respect your grind. I respect what you're doing. We're around the same age. So man, when I come down to Houston, I'm definitely gonna say what's up to you, man. And who knows, we may see each other on the road one day.
Oh man, we both on the road. You back out there, huh?
Oh, I'm in San Francisco in a couple weeks, Utah, Denver, everything. You know what, man? It was interesting living in a world where you don't have your main income, for like 14 months and then it coming back. It was, but it's refreshing to know I got that story now in my life. It's just
You have a pandemic. You survived a pandemic. We
survived it.
we in history. We in somebody's history book now. If you ever want to make history, you definitely in it now.
But Ali, just think what we've seen in our lifetime. We went from not having internet to having internet to not having like smartphones, and like I think our lifetime we will see the most that you can see in technology. Now there's going to be greater things, but the fact of not having nothing like that and then all of a sudden having everything, like when my dad was growing up they had a car, but then the car just got a little better. It got an air conditioner. Now it'll roll down the windows by itself. We got cars that drive themselves now. Like that's how crazy it's become.
Just think about it. This is what I thought years ago. We create things. We the last generation that actually created something out of nothing. Because even all this other technology come from technology that our generation created, with starting with like video games, Atari,
Yep.
and gamers and coding. We started hip hop. Like
Yes.
we started something that did not exist in no form. Like I know people who created breakdance moves. Like and then started like it didn't exist until he did it. You know what I'm saying?
You bet.
So we from that era of, you know, creating something from nothing.
Do you realize when rappers, the biggest rappers in the world, they were our age or maybe 5 years older? You know what I mean? Now you still got Jay-Z. Oh, I never could imagine being 12, 13 years old, listening to a rapper that's over 50 years old. Imagine that. Imagine that.
I'm still excited, and I go back and watch it. Remember when Ron came on the Cypher?
Yep.
I was like, see, now y'all about to see, and then Cube. I was like, now y'all about to see some real MC. I'm standing in the living room like this, like, like it's phenomenal to see the rappers that, when I remember when it was just called rap. It wasn't even hip hop. Yeah. It wasn't even, everything wasn't even all connected. It was just rap. You rap, you did graffiti, you was a dancer. It hadn't all merged. Yeah, DJing hadn't all merged. But once it did merge, you gotta say I was in the era where people was only rapping to with a sound that somebody either was beating on something or doing it with their mouth.
Beatbox, yeah, man. You could go back to the Fat Boys. Their whole musical soundtrack was beatboxing. They didn't even have instruments. Dougie Fresh, one of his biggest songs was just beatboxing. And to see what it's done now, it's crazy. Like we started that, our generation, like you said, but I don't think you'll ever see that again.
I don't think that it's definitely nothing new under the sun now. Even these robots, they gonna do these robots, but we knew that was coming because we had the Jetsons. You still ain't before us. We already knew, the Jetsons. The Jetsons laid out their whole game. Moving floors, talking phones. We knew what was happening. Flying cars. We knew what was jumping off.
Yep.
So
this ain't no surprise.
Ain't no surprise. I think y'all getting away with something, man.
Well, Ali, where you at next, man?
I'm in Kansas City. Yeah, I'm down at the Kansas City Funny Bone Improv.
I think it's Kansas City Improv.
Yeah, Kansas City Improv. Man, you get doing some of these clubs, you get it mixed up. I don't know if I'm in the Funny Bone, a Helium, or Improv. I don't know where I'm at, but it is Kansas City Improv this weekend. 2 shows, Friday and Saturday. Yeah, and then after
do you have a favorite club?
Yeah, my home club, Houston Improv.
Yeah.
Always my favorite club. That's why I'm gonna shoot my special at.
Nice.
And DC Improv.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great room.
Yeah,
It's so
DC
legendary. It's so legendary.
and Cobb's is a good it's a man, it's a really nice room. Cobb's is.
Yeah. Was
Really.
that your first time there, or you've been there several times?
That was my first time there headline. I had been there with Bill Bellamy, but
Okay.
that's not being there. Now this was being
All
there.
right, man. Well, Ali, man, have a great one. Thanks for popping by the podcast, man. And let's definitely stay in touch, my man.
H-Town, no doubt.
H-Town, baby. All right. Later.
Later, brother.